Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. I welcome you all to the 11th lecture for the course of Computer Network and Networking. My name is Engineer Jafar Ali. I'm an instructor for this course. So this is the first part of the lecture number 11, and the topic of today's discussion will be HTTP, that is Hypertext Transfer Protocol. So before going into the HTTP protocol, the first thing that you need to learn is basically the URL. URL is known as Uniform Resource Locator, and this URL is composed of several sub quantities, or you can say parameters. The first one is protocol. This is a complete URL, and this consists of a protocol. This protocol is known as, for example, HTTP, and there is also a subdomain. This is known as www, that is World Wide Web. And there comes the main domain. This is normally known as domain or the main domain, and the last one is basically known as the identifier. Now, what is a protocol and what is HTTP? So a protocol is a set of standard procedure for defining and regulating communication. For example, TCP, UDP, HTTP. We have learned about many other protocols in the previous lectures as well. So you have had, I hope that you have had a good idea about a protocol. HTTP is the foundation of a database or data communication for our World Wide Web, and this is basically an application layer protocol for using of web, and this is used for transferring different forms of data, and this data can be text or hypertext or image or videos or any sounds and similar things like that. So what is HTTP? HTTP is the Hypertext Transfer Protocol. This is the abbreviation for a Hypertext Transfer Protocol, and it is a set of rules for transferring files such as text, graphic, images, sound, video, audio, or anything. You can name the file, and it can transfer the file over the World Wide Web. And this is basically a communication between. This helps as a communication between client computers and the web server, and this is done by sending the HTTP request and receiving the HTTP response. So HTTP is an application layer protocol. We have discussed that, and it is a connectionless protocol. We will discuss these statements. These are some hypotheses, and we will be discussing these hypotheses in the lecture as well. In the last, this is shown that HTTP is stateless. It doesn't have any memory. It cannot record the previous data, previous information. We will also conclude our lecture with this statement as well. So first of all, there are two types of connections that HTTP can have. The first one is known as non-persistent HTTP, and the second one is known as persistent HTTP. So at the non-persistent HTTP, at most one object is sent over a TCP connection. But in persistent HTTP, you can have multiple objects, and you can send over single communication channel of TCP connection between a client and a server. So in persistent, the name shows persistence is also, you can call it stubborn. So it sends multiple files over a single connection, and non-persistent send only a single file or single object over a TCP connection. So this HTTP session consists of three parts. This is basically the three parts, or you can say the three-way handshake. So the first one, when the client wants to receive a packet, the first thing is that the client has to establish a TCP connection. So the first thing is that the TCP connection should be established, and the second step depends on the first step. The client have to send the request, and this request is sent over this TCP connection, and after that it waits for some time for the answer, for the reply. If the server processes the request and sends back the answer, and it has two answers. Either it can accept the request, or it can reject the request. And this answer basically contains the status code and the appropriate data, that if the request has been accepted or denied, and then the connection is closed. So there are some method for by which you can use HTTP. The first one is known as GET. Whenever you want to request a web page or object from a server, you send the this method. You are using actually this method, and this is known as the GET method. By this, you can basically transfer your request for a web page or an object from a server. When you want to send some data or information or a document to a server, you use the command put. When you want to send some information about a client to a server, the system sends the post information using this HTTP method. The method is post, and later on we will discuss in the class that what is get and what is post. I will also share information with you as well about the languages of this computer languages of using this get and post. And there is another option of delete, or this is a method. If you want to request to delete an object from the server, you can also take that request and put it into the information of the server, knowledge of the server. You can also do that. Similarly, there are three other mechanisms for the HTTP protocol, and the first one is head. In this kind of method, you basically request for information about a web page or a document. In the trace, it is used to trace the proxies or tunnels from the path in the path from the client to server. I have already showed you the trace route information. This trace route basically shows the information about the paths involved, the proxies involved, and the tunnels involved in the path of the client to server. And the last one is basically option. It is used to verify or determine different capabilities of the server, that what is the bandwidth, what is the latency of the server, what is the PDR of the server. So these are different options you can use to find the information or capabilities of the server. So this is basically a complete cycle of HTTP request and response. The HTTP request is generated, and then the response is applied by the server. Actually, this is the 5 steps. A client, normally a browser, sends a HTTP request to a web. A web receives the request, and then the server runs the application to process the request. The server returns an HTTP response output to the browser, and the client, that is the browser, receives the response. So this is the complete cycle of this HTTP mechanism. The HTTP request circle, I've already showed you. These are the 5-step processes. Let's talk about another dimension. A typical HTTP request or response circle is shown over here. The browser sends or requests an HTTP page. For example, you have applied for google.com. So the server returns the HTML file. Now this file is basically composed of different style sheets, different variables, different formats. And how can you decode this information? And for that you need to have a CSS file, or you can also, this is basically known as this is a style sheet that is known as CSS. So you can have that style sheet as well. You can also get the CSS file. So the browser requests a style sheet and then the server basically responds back with the cascading style file, style sheet, or you can say the file of the CSS. And the user or the browser then requests for a JPG image, and after that the server basically responds back the JPG file. So as per requirement, the browser request and as per the request, the server basically respond back to the user or the browser. So there are three message formats according to the architecture of this HTTP. The first one is the start line, the second one is the header fields, and the last one is the message body. So this is the you can say the start line, or this is the header fields, and this is the message body. So what are the start lines? All HTTP messages basically start with a start line. This start line for a request message says that what to do, and the message basically line start that what happens. So this is the start line, and this is a response of the start line. So if this is a request message, the message will start from what to do, and if it is a replied message or responded message, this will start with what happened. And these are the headers. You know that there are several information that are hidden in the headers. So there are four headers basically involved in this HTTP. The first one is known as general headers, and it carries the information about the cache control, the connection, about the date, or a MIME version, or you can say the upgrade version. The next one is basically the request headers. The request header consists of accept character set, accept encoding, accept language authorization from host. There are different request headers. These are basically request header. It also shows the description. This table also shows you the description about different headers involved in these things. The next one is basically a response header, and this response header shows you different kind of responses generated by a server. It can have it can respond by acceptance, accept range. It can ask you. It will show the server if the server accepts the range requested by the client. It also hides the information about the age of the document. It also identifies the public that if the this file that you are accessing is public or not. It also hides information about the reattempts on access to the network of this file. And the last one is about the information of the server, that if you want to display the name of the server and the version of the server. The last basically header is basically the entity header, and it shows you about the description of different URLs and different languages and the document. And you can have different types of expires and lost modified date and location as well. So it also gives you information about the entities that are involved in the process. So there is a small difference between this. Is just a overview, and I'm just going to tell you the small difference between the HTTP and the HTTPS. HTTPS basically stands for this. This is make this more secure. Stands for the security, and it shows that this HTTP is also enabled with the SSL on the presentation layer. And you know that this SSL is basically secure socket layer, and this is most commonly used nowadays because of the security level. Because normally websites today are using for banking or financial transaction nowadays. So to support that and to maintain a security level, we also people also want to engage on that website that has a security level and that do not have a security breach that much of easy. So that is why this HTTPS comes into play, and this makes the more secure by using this SSL at the presentation layer. So this makes the compatibility issue and as well as the security enhancement. So this was all about the first part. In the second part, we will be discussing about the operation of this actually the HTTP, that how you can operate this HTTP, how can you implement this HTTP, and different protocols, different mechanisms that are involved in it. So I hope that you have learned about the architecture of HTTP in this lecture, and I wish to see some good questions in the class as well. I'll see you in the second part. That's all for the first part. Thank you. Allah Hafiz.